it's how the terminology has changed, that when these sort of intelligent networks and sort of programmable networks and ultimately intelligent networks first started being kicked around and talked about, it was very much discussed as a cost saving
Yeah.
objective. But to be really, we're increasingly saying, hey, look, cost, well, of course it's a factor, but actually you can't operate your business with a phase one network anymore. You've got to be looking into phase three and potentially even phase four to meet the demands that are being put on you by your business stakeholders.
Yeah, and I think recent times as well. The pandemic has caused a slight different rethink around even things like SD-WAN.
Mm,
So in that kind of programmable network space, we're obviously starting to see quite a big uptake in SD-WAN. So a lot of the service providers have productized that now. It's pretty much a default mode of operation for the RFP process, and we've seen that pretty much commonplace as a proposal. The problem I think that the pandemic's introduced is that SD-WAN's great if you're in the environment, if you're in the branch, if you're sat behind the appliance. So,
mm,
it provides all of that performance and security and application control and, dynamic networking effectively. The problem is right now, and I think what we're seeing going forward is that we're more than likely to return to some kind of hybrid working environment. So therefore, that SD-WAN infrastructure that's sat in the branch or in the remote sites is not going to be as useful as it once may have thought to be, back
mm,
before the pandemics when everybody was in the office. So that's kind of where the thinking now is moving on to this more intelligent network model where, SD-WAN probably sits within the intelligent network model, but you've also got the capability of accessing some of these security services and policy and performance services whilst you're off the network,
mm.
at home, for instance. So this is a model where we're starting to see, you referred to it at the start, SASE, so Secure Access Service Edge.
Yep.
This is a model where we're starting to see some of them controls that traditionally would be sat on the edge of the network actually be elevated up into the cloud or the edge of the service provider network.
Mhm.
So your last mile between your device and the edge of the network effectively is commodity type services, but then you're consuming the security, the routing, the policy, the application performance at the edge of the network. So that's available for everybody, whether they're in the branch or whether they're working from home or from Costa or McDonald's or wherever. They're getting the same experience and they're getting that same level of security and performance whilst from any location. So this is where we're starting to see this concept of SASE come in. I think beyond that, and looking at where the roadmap for this kind of environment is going, it's becoming much more um, almost like pay as you go type model as well,
Mm.
or network as a service model, if you like. So the ability, because all this stuff is effectively virtualized at the edge of the cloud network or the telco network, it's moving into a similar model of cloud compute where you
Yeah.
spin up services, you create functions, and you create paths and bandwidths for when it's required, but then you tear it back down again when it's not being used.
Mm.
So it's almost like an infinite resource that can be reused all the time, but it's not nailed up all the time. So
Yeah.
you only use it when you need it, and then you start moving into this more sort of consumption based networking.